made you take an interest in acting?
Singing, actually. I started taking singing lessons when I was 7 because I sang a lot at school and around my parents, and they're like, "Oh, you're loud and you do this a lot. You should probably channel this energy into something." So I started taking singing lessons really like that. And the college student I was taking lessons from, her school was putting on a community college production of The Music Man when I was 7, so I auditioned for that, and that was my first role. And I did it with my dad because I was too scared to audition, so he was in it too.
Voice acting in culture and society has been a very changing landscape in one form or another, and what voice acting used to be and how people got into it is very different from how it is now. And you've been a part of that career during that entire transition. What was that like, or how did you feel about that kind of thing?
It's bizarre. I mean, people, when I became a voice actor, it was still something I was just like doing on the side for pursuing on-camera acting. And nobody was going out to Los Angeles to pursue voice acting 99.9% of the time. It just wasn't really a thing. Pretty much all the veteran voice actors that I know that didn't get into the business in the last couple of years intended to do something else and found voice acting along the way. Nowadays, that's completely been turned on its head with new media and the internet and the amount of job opportunities that have come up. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great thing. It's more accessibility, and it's become a little bit more of a rock star profession than it was. I wouldn't say it's, as glamorized as on-camera acting or other professions in the business, but it's ours, and I'm glad that it exists.
When did you realize just how big
San Diego Comic-Con 2014 or 2015. Yeah, 2015. It was right after Jailbreak came out, and everything changed. We were doing a joint panel with Adventure Time that year, and the previous year, I believe we'd done the same thing, and we were just kind of like, they were sort of attaching us to them to promote the show, and the dynamic had been completely turned on its head the next year. I mean, there were Steven cosplayers everywhere. Everybody was asking Steven questions. We had to turn people away for the signing and due to room capacity. People singing the songs in the crowd, it had completely changed over the span of months. And that was my first indication as to what kind of phenomenon the show was going to become and the culture that the fandom was going to evolve into. So that was a very clear, defined moment that I realized that.
You have some history of playing tabletop role-playing games?
A little bit.
A little bit. I was wondering, as an actor and a voice actor, how do role-playing games, do they have an effect on that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was the kid that like played pretend until I was like 13 or 14 and all my friends did too, because we were performers, we were actors. We didn't want to let go of that because that was a way to do the thing that we did professionally but in a non-professional environment. And playing D&D on a show like Dark and Dicey was returning to that childhood wonder that D&D gives to everybody, but doing it with a bunch of people who do role-playing and voice acting for a living. And having a DM like Kaiji just elevates that so much. So that was really cool for the time that I was able to be a part of it.
How would you say you and Steven are the most different?
I have to jog my memory of like what's out and what's not. I'd say Steven, to an extent, a lot of the things that we have in common don't go to the same extent. I feel like I give people chances, sometimes more than they're due, but not nearly as much as Steven does, for better or for worse. I think that's a product of the environment I grew up in Los Angeles. I'm a bit more of a cynic than he is. He really is the perpetual optimist, and that's what a lot of people love about it. So I'd say I definitely have a streak of that, but I'm more of a realist in a lot of ways.
Being the voice of Billy Batson, are there any plans of playing a superhero like live action or whatnot?
I mean, I hope. It's not something you really plan on. That's something that you land and your life is made. I have auditioned for a couple of major motion picture superhero projects. That's been about it.
What's something that's important to you that you would like to be able to share with more people?
My music was that and is that for me. I put out an album last August. It's all written by me and intensely personal lyrically, and goes to some very dark places, talking about relationships and my experience growing up in a relatively hostile environment in Hollywood, and that's been really important for me to get that story out, something of my own creation, publicly, and taking it on tour and showing it to people at conventions. I'm working on more of that now, but probably nothing new until next year. But the existing album is out now on everywhere you listen to music.
Thank you.
So you've done so many things in front of and behind the camera. What do you think you want to focus on more in the future?
I'd like to continue doing what I'm doing, but investing more in the music as an avenue of being creative. I don't want to eliminate any field of work just yet. For the moment, I'm kind of like wrapping some things up and taking a step back from it all, and like turning away from it for a minute to see to get some perspective on what I want to prioritize and what I want to move away from. I don't feel like I have the distance yet with some of the things I'm still finishing up and working on to really judge that accurately. All in due time.
What's craziest or off-the-wall fan theory from Steven Universe that you see?
I mean, Sneeple's pretty crazy. And, who knows? Maybe it'll be proven right in season 6. Onion is Yellow Diamond was one of my favorites. And then some of the most off-the-wall ones were actually right. Like, a lot of people were not right on, but close with the Rose Pink Diamond connection. It's spooky how deep people read into things, and I sometimes accidentally catch myself starting to talk about things I'm not supposed to talk about because they're not out, because people are speaking about them so presently, because they got it, they nailed it, and I can't give any credence to that.
I have a question. So I want to talk about the mindset, the psychology of things from when you started Steven as a teenager and now as an adult. How has things changed for you?
For me personally, for me playing Steven,
Both professionally and personally.
I mean that's what people write memoirs about. That's a big broad subject. Yeah, I mean Steven and I grew up alongside each other, and that informed me playing the character, and it has informed me in my arc and my own story as a person. I think the shared burden of having an abnormal amount of responsibility for someone of my age, of his age, our age, even as the ages have spread apart as I've gotten older. That's something that I always found solace in, and that I wasn't just going to work and doing the show. I was taking some of the difficulties from other parts of my life and channeling them into something that would help other people with that, and that has never been more present than the things that we're working on currently. So I'm very excited for that to be made public whenever that comes.
Sorry, go ahead. Earlier you had mentioned about some of the, I'm trying to think of the word that you used, hostile elements of growing up in Hollywood. And if you're willing to share, I'd be curious to know how you managed to overcome some of those hostile elements.
I have a strong family support system. I have a very strong group of immediate friends, brothers basically, that all came up doing the same thing, and all except me are no longer doing the same thing for various reasons. But we were all child actors. We all had that shared experience. And, even for the kids who came up in families where they had support and they had outlets, it wasn't always a sunshine and rainbows experience for them. And for the friends of mine that didn't have that, I mean, where do you go with those problems, with those emotions? Not always, but often it was down. So you'll have to check back with me, because I'm still kind of reeling from all this, and I'm not really in a place where I feel like I'm able to give wisdom to other people for overcoming it, because I don't feel like I've fully overcome it yet. And I don't want to give advice to people that have been in the business and at a young age and dealt with that, even if not at a young age, but it's especially hard at a young age. I've tried, and I've learned that it's not necessarily my place right now, because I still have a lot of things to learn myself, and it's hard to watch other people crash and burn even harder than you have at some points. And some of those people have rebounded in my life. Some people I had to cut ties with because of destructive ways. Some people are no longer with us. So the one thing I do maintain very clearly is that there are some systemic issues in Hollywood relating to how we work our youth, and it will be a topic I want to explore later in my life and revisit at some point, because it's not everything is not as it should be, in my opinion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking.
Let's do blue shirt in the back.
Yeah, no worries. So what have you enjoyed working on?
I mean,
This day.
it's almost like a gimme answer, but Steven has just been so central to my life in so many ways. The cast is, on that I love you basis. They're family. They look out for me. They're mentors and friends. And Rebecca Sugar is the most influential, incredible person I've worked with in my career and gotten to work with so closely in my career. And it's, a lot of people, they make their name off of a show that they hate. Like, that's the thing that happens often, and it couldn't be further from that. I mean, it's not just a show. It's an exercise in really difficult, challenging acting. It's become a cultural phenomenon in ways that exceed the work and become the message and positive impact on the world. And to have the opportunity to work on something like that, that's the type of thing that, decades after the show has ended, that will still follow me and have a profound impact on my life and other people's lives. So that it would really be unfair to say any other project, I think, in comparison. It would be dwarfing that.
What's something that keeps you humble, that keeps you grounded from getting swept up by everything around you?
Like I said earlier, the family, my friends who call me a dumbass if I'm being a dumbass, and just going out into the world and participating in society as just a person. Whether it's at conventions or on social media, or it's so easy to fall into this mindset that because people know me, because people like me or like what I do, that I am I am special, I am superior, like all these ego-driven things that even good people can fall prey to. We all have a narcissist within us to some degree, and honestly, I think it was fortunate that I had to deal with the challenges of that young, because I can see it, I can recognize it, and know when to pull back and just be on a level with everyone around me and participate that way. I like to disappear a lot, much to the chagrin of my friends and stuff. I'll just go off the grid and I'll just go places, and sometimes I will go places for days and go by a different name, music festivals, things like that, just to soak it in.
I need a question from the chair. Go ahead.
I'm certain that you are aware of it, but much of the pop culture world, of the fans anyway, have very much identified Steven Universe as a place of representation of both individuality and different lifestyles and cultures. I'm sure you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I feel that the entire cast has kind of accepted this role, but how do you feel about it, knowing that people look up to you guys as a world of free exploration for individuality?
Well, like I said earlier, the large amount of responsibility at a young age that Steven has with his task of protecting his planet and his friends and his city, I feel like that's a large part of mine. I really don't want to screw that up, you know? Like, I don't want to... On an individual level, from me to a fan, I'm talking to a large amount of people in a day that this show has had like more than just like an entertainment impact on them. It's had something greater than that, and they're telling me that, and I want to make sure that every interaction is doesn't somehow. I'm sure I'm fearing much more than is actually possible, but I really want to make sure that every interaction I have with a fan lets them know that like that's important to me and that they matter and their experience with the show matters, and that is an immense responsibility that I take very seriously. So, yeah.
Well, I don't think you have to worry about that. You were very genuine.
Thank you.
Thank you. You did a great job of that. So we're gonna probably do like 2 more questions, and before y'all get your 2, I'm gonna ask Steven a quick question, and that is so earlier we were pairing wine and cheese with your anime of choice. So if Steven had to pair with a wine and cheese, what would you select?
Wait, a wine and cheese with a specific anime, or just with anime in
We're
general?
gonna say, well, why don't we do Steven as the character, Steven as the character, or you could do it as the whole show. What would you pair as the wine and cheese pairing?
Wait, I don't understand the question. So am I specifically picking a kind of wine and cheese that I want?
That you would watch Steven Universe to enjoy it.
Well, you feel like they pair well together.
Like,
Well-
I'm here for this.
Obviously rosé. That's a slam dunk, and we're gonna go with Colby cheese because my dog's name is Colby. So
Okay, excellent answer.
I thought you were asking for like 2 non-wine and cheese related things to pair together. I was like, that's so open ended.
That was perfect. All right, so two last questions.
Any federal highway funding, foreign policy? What do we got?
Question. What's the most memorable experience at a convention?
Most memorable experience? What?
Most memorable experience at a convention.
At a convention? Oh man. I mean, Momocon became my favorite convention because of the raves and going up on stage during some of the shows and hyping up the crowd, and those are some really good memories just off Ed. Yeah, there's been some really serious ones as well. I had some people who have shared some incredible stories about how the show has impacted them. There's one veteran who had PTSD who started to feel said that he started to feel color and emotion again in his life because he started watching the show with his son to spend time with him, and that was a really powerful moment in Florida. And I've gotten to go to some amazing places. I went to a con in Sweden and came out with like one of my closest friends to this day. Yeah, it's made a huge impact on my life and allowed me to go a lot of places and meet a lot of people, and I have a great deal of friends in Atlanta because of this convention specifically. So it's my 3rd time doing
Last question.
it.
That's true.
We all do.
Yeah, everyone's just here for
Good
Colby. I'm a
question,
cover
very
story.
bad. Last question.
To do Steven and the Stevens was a blast. I'll always say that. Mr. Greg was a really special episode and achievement for the show, I think. Just from a storytelling level, from a workload level, a musical level. I think my favorite episodes are all unreleased, actually. Yeah, because those 2 have been my favorites for like a good deal of time, but I'd say like 6 or 7 or 8 of my top 10 are of the upcoming crop, and I'm not just saying that for promotional purposes. This new season has been my favorite and really important to me. So.
Thanks for listening to yet another production of the AwesomeCast, your podcast for everything awesome. You can find us online at awesomecast.com, OSMCAST.com, or, wherever you find your podcasts, just search for AwesomeCast. You can also find us on the social medias, AwesomeCast at Twitter or on Facebook. Of course, you can also find our wonderful interview guru, the greatest living interviewer, John Robbins, at J5 is Live. Or perhaps you'd like to follow our amazing editor, Anna, at Angel Darkfire. Or just me, at It's Basil Time on Twitter. Our theme song is produced by DJ Inabito, and you can find him online at djinabito.com. And once again, thanks for listening to the AwesomeCast. We appreciate you.
Can't you see it in our eyes? We're the one, 2, 3, 4. We're not like the other guys.
We're not like anybody.
By the way, don't go back in time, or you'll destroy yourself. Steven and the crystal gems, we're gonna make you smile. I accidentally created an alternate timeline. Steven and the crystal gems, come on now, don't be shy. I learned to stay true to myself by watching myself die.